Morning, David. There you are.
Here I am.
Hi, Bill.
Hi,
Hello,
Bill.
Bill. Hi.
How are you guys today?
Doing good. How about you, David? I'm glad you discovered the cause of your problem.
So am I. I'm I'm recovering. I'm doing pretty well actually.
Good. Good.
Um,
Yeah, that doxycycline does the job almost all the time.
it does, and I'm one of those people who doesn't have a big problem with upset stomach as a result.
Yeah.
So, so
Good. Good.
yeah. No, I had a bite which didn't seem to there was no tick and no bullseye, and so I didn't think anything about it. And 2 weeks later, it slammed me, and
Wow. Wow.
all of a sudden, it was classic.
Mm.
Wow. Well,
So, good morning, Joanne.
Good morning. How
Morning.
is everybody?
Pretty good.
Good.
looks
Getting
like we're
better.
Getting better. Well, that's good. I'm glad. Yeah, you can never depend on the bullseye.
No.
I
yeah.
mean, I've had Lyme with and without the bullseye.
Yep, I
Put
have
it that
too.
way.
Yeah. Yeah, we've all had multiple Lymes, I'm sure.
Yes, that's right.
Yep.
People say that, but it's like
Weird.
we live 10 miles from Lyme. We do anyway here.
Yeah. I live less
I
than that.
You live less than that, David. Yes.
uh,
we're talking with a young guy who's going to do some little bit of concrete work for us, and he's he's been disabled by Lyme disease for years, and he's just starting to get back to it. But
wow.
he told us about a book about Plum Island
Oh, yeah.
and coincidences and theories of Plum Island being the source
Yep.
potentially for that
Huh.
Right. Yep.
delightful
Yep.
addition to our lives. Yeah.
All of the experiments and everything else there. Yeah.
Huh. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been
Kind of
thought
floating
for a
around.
while.
I had a friend with a sailboat, and we'd sail right close to Plum Island with all of its signs and stuff.
Mm. Yeah.
It's worse than the submarine base.
Yeah. I had sailed past it. You're absolutely right, but and all of that, but I hadn't put it together with Lime. But well,
I don't know
Carol.
if that's just a wild conspiracy theory or if there's some basis to it, but
No,
included
yeah, we
along
always.
with that are things like the West Nile virus and you know, it's,
It's
Yeah.
hard to tell what's conspiracy and what's not when it comes to some of those things.
Yep. Yes, it is. Well, Carol is, I guess, having difficulty.
My understanding from what Carol, because we were back and forth yesterday about her coming, about us going in, is that they're having a mattress delivery this morning, and you know how those are, like between
Oh,
8 and 10. So she could be like opening the door for the guys bringing the mattress in for it right now, right? She may
yep.
not be there.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's why we're not there.
Okay. Well, in that case, we will proceed.
Oh dear, it's just oh, there you go.
Oh,
There
there
Well,
you
you
there
are.
she is. Your mattress came?
yes, soon after 8. I mean,
Oh, early, early.
5 minutes earlier, and we still could have made it. It would have been
Good.
Good. You did very well, Carol. We talked for a minute first, so. Good. And I am recording.
Saw that?
So, questions? Reports? Anybody have a breakthrough this week?
Yeah, I feel like I don't know about a breakthrough, but I just feel like I'm putting lengthening together better. That I'm putting the lengthening, breathing, the 5 points. I just kind of feel like there's, every so often you're kind of like, oh, why can't I get it in sync or whatever? So
Uh-huh.
I feel like this week that's happened.
Cool. Good. Good. Anyone else? Okay.
I'd be similar to that. I think getting easier. I have fewer parts, fewer things that aren't together.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like that's improving. It was
Good.
weird though this week. I think my practice is that everyone got interrupted with some kind of big thing that happened partway
Ah,
through, out of my control.
well, testing your presence. Bill or Carol? Okay.
I did think that, yeah, as things come together, it's a lot easier, or a lot more, to concentrate on the movement for the Dantians, coming up,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
uh,
Absolutely.
when other things are working
Yeah.
without thinking about them so much.
Amazing what practice will do. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about threading.
Ready.
I know you've all
Sorry, I just had about you're talking about.
threading.
That's ready.
We're all like, what?
Well, we've
Well,
got
it's
we've got lengthening, wrapping, spiraling.
well, it's a concept that's also referred to as the golden thread, which I may have
Mm.
mentioned
Yes,
at
yes.
another time.
Mhm.
And that is, if you have something in opening and closing, dissolving a gate, an energy point, what an organ is putting out, what a gland is putting out, what the brain is putting out, what a bone is putting out, whatever is putting out, that is directly connected to another thing. Joint, tendon, bone, whatever, inside you. It's connected to something else. So what do you have? This is no different than the basic idea of electricity. You have something over here and you have something over here, and you get a current to go between them, and you have to join up that current, because inside the human body you can have this threading, and ideally it is even, which means that if it's 10 units of energy over here, it's 10 units over here, and everywhere else along the line, at every point. To thread something means that the motion of chi between points and along it is even. Now, in terms of gods and in meditation, this becomes important for one reason. This is how your one mind, your one consciousness, can, from function, become millions of consciousnesses. But the consciousness itself is one thing, and the ability to have that consciousness run through you like a golden thread in a very, very connected, smooth fashion is what you want. So when it doesn't do that, it also reflects in messing up and fractionating the chi flow inside your body. The two are bound together. It's not like they're different. You could say they are different, but if you wanted to, but you could also consider them not different. And they are all part of the same thing. So what you're looking for when you're doing gods is threading, and it's a big subject. Now, we're going to start by doing something simple with the arm. So I'm going to give you a little threading exercise, and you can do this seated the moment, so don't jump up. So between the tip of your finger and the palm, what are the major thread points? The knuckles. Knuckle, knuckle, knuckle. Now, understand something. If it was just done completely with your fingers, extended in a straight line, and it would not be so hard to do. But your finger can bend all over the place. Your wrist can bend, and your elbow. But but it doesn't matter if the finger wrist or elbow bends in any direction. There is still needs to be a thread. You don't think of it just in a linear way. Now I want you to try and pulse the tip of your finger. So really just thinking about from the tip to the first knuckle. And get the blood flow going in and out. And the question is, going from the tip through, clear down through the third knuckle, where can it break up? You might be okay at the tip, but if it starts getting less at the third knuckle, there's a problem. So now we're just going to have to really feel. You have to really open up your awareness. You want to make sure that you can feel your energy getting to your fingertip and coming back to the knuckle. Because the thread is in the direction. And then you feel the middle. Is it going through the middle of your finger smoothly? Or does it actually have a big surge and then it weakens? So you have to pulse very lightly until you can actually recognize that thread going through the center of your finger. Because when the thread gets down to the center of the knuckle, it has to go right through the center of the knuckle. Could the energy surge easily and end up on one of the other sides or the bottom? Yes, quite easily. And as a matter of fact, it would not be difficult. So you just need to get it to where it's very even. Now, I'll grant you that you might want to make a big surge in the middle to sort of kick it to the end. But the thing with threading is eventually there is no kicking it through. It's got to be steady. Because within the thread through chi, you can regulate the voltage like a dimmer switch. You can make it be 5 degrees or 500 and still be going through the same thread. But then if you get surges, you will cap how much you can increase that basic energy limit. Because if it surges, it causes the blocked point, which you can't get through. Bear in mind, this is going to be much harder when you get to your feet. It's easier to get this with the hands because, of course, the feet are harder. Because your legs have been compressed by your walking on them your whole life. Now you go through one joint and then the next. Let's see if you can go through to the second knuckle. If it surges in the middle, when you're going to do, what you're going to do is lightly pulse it. Try to help make it even until you can get a sense of what it's like for it to be very even. And then go to the next knuckle. See if you can go through all three now. And remember, you want to go through the middle of the knuckle. So you want the energy to thread out through the tip and back in to the palm. And of course, you do this with each of the 5 fingers. And if you have surges and declines, thinking back to Chinese medicine, what we're really talking about is the principle of excess and deficiency. That is what you're really referring to. That's why I want you to practice this until you can keep track of the whole thing by yourself. So now we're going to think about the feet. And the ones you want to start off with are the big toe and the little toe. Usually, if you can get those, the middle ones will actually cooperate more easily. But the fact of the matter is that if you go from big toe to little one, you can find that the ones at the end actually are much harder to do. So in your big toe, you actually only have 2 joints. So the next one has 3. So the big toe is an easy one to do. And the first thing is you just, if you can slip off a shoe and put your fingers on your big toe. Or not, if that's not reasonable. Just see if you can get the current moving through the tip of the big toe. Just be aware of it going out and threading back in. Doesn't make any difference which foot you do, but I would suggest you just focus on one toe at a time. So is that movement smooth or intermittent? Do you have a sense of the current dropping or increasing? And try to take it through the first joint, the first knuckle. I want to try to get it smooth from the very beginning. You're looking for a recognition that the current going up and down your foot and could be doing so in different ways. You just want that awareness first. Once you do have it, move on. See if you can get that current of threading to move through both joints. And as with the hands, we'd like it to go through the middle. Well, it may be a new thought. You can also pulse the energy just like we do with the hands. Sense of open and close. Up and out, down and in. Now, one thing you can do if you feel like your energy is getting stuck, you can simply apply a gentle pulling action until you get it through. This pulling action is easier to do than when you punch back towards the foot, push back towards the foot. So very gently pull out and push back. Pull until you feel that flow to begin in that direction. And then push back gently until you get a bit of flow in that direction. So that would be another way to encourage the movement in each toe. Now, if you feel it starting to slow down, you can just put a bit more energy to get it through. Remember, pull up, push down, because that's what gravity did to your foot. Really feeling for it to be smooth and moving through the middle of the joint. One of the important points in doing this practice is to not get distracted by feelings elsewhere in the body. Keep focused on the finger or toe that you're working with. You want the energy moving in your toes so that eventually, as you do this in your feet, you're going to get more stuff moving in the rest of your body. But what is the ultimate idea? The ultimate goal? To be able to do it with every joint in your body. And then everything that can move in the rest of your body will move easily, not intermittently. It may not matter much for the physical body, but later on, downstream, if you talk about dealing with subtle mental energy or psychic energy or karmic energy or essence energy, can you get away with the flow being loose? No, you can't. So why start with something that's going to hobble you downstream? So now try the little toe. Same foot where you worked on the big toe. Just try to feel that movement at the tip and through the first joint. And try to get it to go through the middle. And if it feels like nothing's happening, try to pulse through that toe. So you would continue to practice doing one toe at a time until you get both feet going. Start with the big toe, then get the little one. And you're only going to the base of your toes, no further. You have to build this up. Because when you start trying to thread your whole leg, the place that is not connected will stop the thread. And if you drop down 30% at your toe, you will drop down 50% at your knee. Now, everyone knows what denial is. And one way of describing how denial works is first you say, you're aware, you don't deny, nothing is going on. And then all of a sudden, you get the point of not denying and know you are aware of all this. What has normally happened is you blank out something and you don't know what has happened. So the big trick is what you're using counterpoint for is simply to connect, to make you able to recognize what it's connected to. Because in contrast, people tend not to go into denial. But when something is just going on in the stream, they tend to go into denial because they can just keep on going in one direction and totally ignore that the other side of it. The mind does this quite easily and quite automatically. And that's one reason why so many people in this world are totally numb to their bodies. They don't even know they're numb to their bodies. So someone can be numb, but you have to start recognizing if someone is simply in denial to what they actually feel. Because if you're going into denial about what you feel, then you don't feel it. And that's a different matter from you can't feel it. So one thing that getting this threading, the effortless and easy can help activate, is is sciatic pain. It can repair the damage to the nerves of the toes. And it can help to get rid of vertebrae squeezing down and causing the nerve signals to get blocked to begin with. The one thing that helps sciatica is actually to get the blood vessels that are down along the area where the nerves have become traumatized to become untraumatized. It's a reasonably reliable strategy, but the nature of all reasonably reliable strategies is that you can't say they will work all the time. So, I'd like you to stand. and breathe. Extend your mind through your body. And then just for a minute, see if you can push and pull the thread of your chi through at least some of your fingers and toes. And then I want you to begin just a 10-rep flow of Gods, trying to be aware of how much connected threading you have in your body. And just accept what it is. Make note of it so you can focus your practice later on. So, questions, comments, thoughts?
I can't do one toe at a time.
Sure you can.
No, I can't. I feel like I have to hold the others down. But that doesn't mean I can't feel it. It just means I can't, I don't feel, I mean, my fingers I can. But I find it very challenging to do that with my toes, which are kind of short and stubby, actually. I don't have long toes.
The other thing to say, too, is if you really feel you can smoothly and evenly thread through all the fingers or toes, then it's probably not necessary to do the individual practice. But the individual practice is a means of making sure that
Yep.
you do have everything open. Good.
David, a basic question. Can you differentiate between just the sense of energy moving in and out, uh, and the threading?
Yep.
Because I mean, I was aware of energy moving in and out, and I could identify fingers and sitting toes. Harder when you're standing on your feet,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
but I don't know whether that qualifies as threading.
So,
My sense of the energy moving in and out.
so the point of threading is that it's moving through the middle of everything ultimately, not just along the surface.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
So good question, yeah.
Okay.
Because we started off a long time ago for all of you, just feeling it move along the skin,
Yeah.
and then gradually begin feeling it moving more deeply into the appendages and the body. And now we are looking to really be aware of that single thread through moving through the middle. You remember with the lengthening, we reached a point of talking about there is no one side or the other, that it's all moving in one direction or the other. Of course, it's always moving in both, but your awareness or your focus or your intention is all together and not necessarily just one side and then another, but through the center. Okay.
In the fingers and toes,
Mm-hmm.
it feels very, fine, like a thread. But there was at one point I was aware of my back and said, "Well, that feels more like a cord." Does it thicken, or is it all?
Mm.
Is it a fine thread through everything, or is it a mesh of threads through everything, or am I getting ahead of ourselves?
Good question.
I mean, I think of it as kind of like the blood flow. You've got all these little capillaries, and they all come together into bigger vessels.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure nerves work that way, but I'm just the threads work that way.
Yeah. Um, I guess my first thought is it's a little bit ahead, but
Yeah.
but ultimately you're looking. Indeed, multiple single threads. Yes. Not in the appendages, but in the body we end up with that. Anything for you, Mr. Bynum?
I think the fingers and having that with lengthening in and lengthening out gave a different energy in the fingers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm I have this, like maybe everybody, spinal stenosis kind of thing, and have a degree of neuropathy, especially in
Mm-hmm.
my
Mm.
left foot, and I'm not getting a whole lot. I can get lengthening in and lengthening out some in my feet, but I'm not in touch with the nerves so well, especially in a lot of my feet.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Well, that may grow. Um, we can't. Well, the one thing I would say is that um, some of this practice certainly has helped my spinal stenosis a lot
Hmm.
over the years, over many years. Whether how much it can help um, your neuropathy, I'm not sure. Be honest, but it would seem to me that it would have the potential to eventually help some at least. Good. Well, have fun playing with this, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good week, everyone.
Yes, have a good week.
Yes.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Okay.
Boom, 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 boom.
Here we are.
What?
Here we are.
Here we are. Yes.
It's
Here
us
we are.
again.
Here we are.
Feels like forever since we've been together, but it was really only. I know I've missed a bunch this last couple of months, but I think it's only been 2 weeks.
Yeah. It seems longer without you, Joanne.
It's longer for me too. I don't know why.
So, in any style questions? In the
No, I
thir-
have to say I've been, but between being on the road and it being so hot, this was not the practice I did as much as
Well, I
it's
can
good.
understand. Well, I can
Yeah.
sympathize. I lost nearly a week of practice
Oh, being sick. Yeah.
with my Lyme.
Did you get exhausted?
Yes.
Yeah. That to me is the hardest part of it, just the
Oh.
total exhaustion.
And I, as I said, I had that bite for about 2 weeks with no reaction whatsoever. And overnight, I was like slammed.
It's a strange, yeah, it's a strange thing. Yeah.
Um, and but I began to have after Thursday, I got on the Doxy,
Yeah.
and I began to improve right away. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm what I find is that I really get worn out. You know, I do one I do one class and I'm done for the day.
Right. No, I remember when I had it really badly, just getting out of bed and walking to the bathroom was exhausting.
Yeah. Well, it
Went through
was the
several days of that. Yeah.
first couple of days, yeah, I had that, but I'm doing all right.
Good.
I'm
Good.
getting better.
Is that the major symptom of it?
Um, that very
I've never, not wood.
extremely achy joints.
Uh-huh.
Have you had it, Carol?
No.
Ooh,
Oh,
you're lucky.
I don't know many people who haven't had
Yeah,
it.
really.
I don't spend a
Did
whole lot of time out in the wood outside.
it.
I'm not a big gardener, so.
Well, I think I'm blaming our cat who goes out. So,
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, that could
I
be.
didn't think your cats went out. Wow.
well, they weren't, and we thought we were not going to let them out, and one doesn't go out at all, but one just got so crazy that we
Hmm.
said, well,
It's
can't
better. Yeah.
can't do anything except let him go. So we have one that goes out. He's on, on the appropriate medication and
Yeah.
all, but nonetheless, I'm sure he must bring some in now and then. Apparently.
Stuck on his fur, and then
Yeah, and they're so small you can't really see them even.
No, no. So, well. So, anything for you, Carol?
no, I don't think so. I've been doing a little bit of woo, but not a whole lot.
Okay. Well,
I'm
maybe,
focusing on the third paragraph just because
Hmm.
we got there.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think that would be, yeah, good. I mean, we have a little time downtime this weekend. Yeah, to yeah, to focus more on the third paragraph
Yep.
for
That's
next week
good.
would
Good.
be a good thing.
Yes, it would.
Did
As
you?
well as trying to move individual toes. I don't think I can. I'll show you next week.
Well, as I said, if you're feeling that you're threading smoothly through all five, then don't worry about it.
And I felt it when we were doing our fingers. So that our first finger, right? So that
Hmm.
helps, right? I think
Yeah.
that's just kind of I'm like, ta-da, okay, I can make this work elsewhere. And I can, for the most part, move yeah. I mean, I focused on my big toe, but
Hmm.
I really can't just separate it out. And I can't move my small toe at all without all of them going.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I do have short, stubby toes. Um, yeah. Anyway, but I can feel it, and
Yeah.
not as much in the toes, but I even during the practice, I was very aware.
Good. Good. Did you start to ask something, Carol?
Oh, I was just wondering if Joanne's multiple meetings and things are done, and if they went well.
For the most part, yeah, the weekend was really good,
Oh,
and
yeah?
it was kind of like I was thinking of that as just briefly it flashed on me as we were starting because we really started with some centering that was like a short meditation, on what we were doing. And it's our first time together in 4 years because of the pandemic. We're from all over the country. So, and it
Oh,
wasn't a large group. So that probably helped, and we're really trying to, yeah, move forward and make decisions and, think of ourselves as, a nonviolent anti-racist organization. What does all that mean in terms of how we bring people in? Da, 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 da. So yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, it did. It went more better, more better than I could have, than all of us expected. I mean, I think that was clearly, and some of the other folks who don't normally come, but who do some of the work came. So I think that really added a richness to who was in the room and how we could, because sometimes it's a mystery of people are like, well, why is Christine over there and she works for us, but kind of part time? We don't ever see her. This time we were almost all in the only one person who does some work with us wasn't there. She lives up in
wow.
Massachusetts. Yeah, so it was good, and it's a having outside facilitation who we've worked with for a while. These folks have kind of helped us through. What are the right questions to ask? What's the right framing? How do we set it up? And War Resistance League, for the most part, has good process. We don't always follow it. People can be people. And not separating out kind of our heart from our head, kind of like getting into that wonky thing and then kind of forgetting sometimes, where we're trying to go and what our values are just to kind of get something done or whatever. Yeah. So, yeah. And, that doesn't mean I'm like, yay, July's free, but, but I felt like it's when there's something like that, you kind of feel like, okay, kind of know where we're moving now. We're all moving together because I wasn't sure about that last week. When you all said we're all moving together. So
Lovely.
Well, that's good.
thank you. Yes. So that is good. And yep, a few more things. And then I got to take a break this kind of long weekend. So
Good.
get out in the yard and hopefully avoid the ticks. I got some berries to pick back there, but it's too wet.
Ah,
Yeah. The black raspberries are coming in.
ooh, how nice.
So
Okay.
anyway,
Well, I will look forward to seeing you next week.
As far as I know, I didn't expect not to be there today. But
I know, really.
Well, enjoy your new
But you got the
mattress.
mattress. That was, I know
We
that
got-
was
we got the
thing
mattress.
you needed to get. So
Yes. Yes, John will have less danger of sliding off the edge of the bed.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
At least that's our hope.
that's your hope.
That's important.
Yes.
Yes, very, very, very
Good.
good. Oh, time to
Time for an early morning nap, late morning nap.
early morning. I'm gonna finish my cup of coffee. Okay.
All right. Take
See
care,
you all
guys.
hopefully in person next week. Oh, it's David. I'll see you tomorrow, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Bye bye.
Good.
Bye bye.
Bye.